Hey, welcome to my channel. I just decided I'm going to go live today rather than record and go over what I did, basically. I mean, let's be honest, I didn't think they were going to win this game. I mean, they had Senga pitching, which you saw what happened. Like, first batter, Schwarber just like hits it out. But, I mean, I'm surprised that he was able, I'm surprised that he was able to go for like 2 innings, quite honestly, and hold them down. And the fact that, let's be honest, the fact that Senga, Peterson, and Reed were able to like keep the Mets in it by holding the Phillies down to 1 run was pretty impressive. I mean, granted, yeah, it's the fact that the Phillies with Wheeler, former Met, of course, and I was afraid of this, was holding the Mets hitless practically, or definitely scoreless, practically hitless, 1 for I don't know 21 or whatever it was for 7 innings. I was kind of concerned, and the fact of the matter is like their bullpen isn't too shabby. Let's be honest, their bullpen is pretty good. You got two all stars in their bullpen basically for the Phillies, and so like the fact that the Mets were able to score 6 runs, in the bottom of the eighth, it was like, okay, maybe this is something that was completely unintentional, but let's be honest. I mean, if I was a Mets fan, which I am, of course, seeing how Wheeler was pitching against Mets, you're like always like, damn it, why did we let him go? Why didn't we re-sign him? Think we could have signed him for that kind of money. But in any case, and you kind of wonder, like, if Wheeler had stayed and he was there with DeGrom in 2022 with Scherzer, I mean, it's possible they could have gone far at that point. But in any case, this is going to be an interesting series to say the least, because more so to the point where, let's look at it this way. Lindor is the heart of the team. I think I mentioned this before, and I think I'll say it again. Yes, and the fact is like, hey Yuki, how's it going? The fact that we won, I'm kind of surprised, and I'm happy that we won. Actually, I was really surprised that that this happened, because honestly, the fact that seeing Wheeler pitch the way he was pitching, and let's be honest, the Phillies bullpen is pretty good. I thought, like, we're going to lose game one and maybe we're going to have to get in game two. The thing that's really concerning to me though is Alonso. I mean, yes, he'll have his moments, but like the fact that he was 0 for 5, I mean, it's kind of concerning. I mean, he's got to get out of this slump, man. Honestly, I mean, yeah, like the Milwaukee game, that was great with that homer, but he needs to start hitting. I mean, Lindor definitely is the heart of the team. He definitely, if the Mets get past the Phillies, uh, okay, yes, fine. I will apologize for the fact that yes, I that Lindor, if we traded Lindor for some prospects and such, yeah, okay, this turned out to be. I'm glad I was wrong. I'll gladly eat my words about this. With Lindor, Alonso definitely for sure as well too. But the thing is like we got to see what happens with Alonso with the rest of the playoffs, because just that one shot, yes, he got him over there. But and honestly, it's a matter of like, let's see how he does in for the rest of the series, because I mean, 0 for 5, if not for Lindor, if not for Vientos, if not for Alvarez, I mean, the Mets probably wouldn't have won this game. I mean, Alonso's got to wake up. His bat has to wake up basically, because he can't just go 0 for 5, and he can't go 1 for, he can't be batting 100 practically. He's got to be batting at least 300 for sure, or at least two something, especially with runners in scoring position. Yeah, Grant, he got the he got the pop out to get him in, but uh, one hit to rule them all. Yeah, that's yes, but it only goes so far. If they don't go far against the Phillies, and let's say it's him, and he's the last man to basically with runners in scoring position, and he flies out. I mean, honestly, I'm hoping I'm wrong again. But the thing is, I'll be straight up. I want Alonso to do well, because like if we can sign him, and then we get Soto. I think we'll be dominant. And then the fact is, like, I think we can build some pitchers as well too, and grab some pitchers, because I mean, I'll be honest, Peterson threw me off guard. I mean, I honestly thought Peterson was more of a mid reliever. The fact that he was doing so well, I mean, he's not your not an ace. Let's be honest, he's not an ace, but he's getting there. And Senga, I mean, he's changing my mind. He's changing me. Look, I'll openly admit the Mets are making me eat my words. I was wrong completely about them because I thought for sure, even if they made the playoffs, they were never going to get far in the playoffs. But they're in the LDS. I mean, if they can get into the LCS, I will. I don't know, eat my hat or something like that. I'll do something weird, basically. Um, uh, I think if Alonso is well, you could say if Alonso leaves, let me ask you this question, Yuki. Would you rather have Alonso or Soto, Juan Soto? I mean, it's possible we could get Juan Soto, and like Cohen definitely wants it for sure, and he's definitely gonna try to bring him on board, basically, and like he's gonna do whatever he can to sign him and get over, like the fact that like to beat the Yankees at that point as well. So, yeah, granted, Soto would probably want to stay with the Yankees, but the fact that I think New York has opened up Soto, that I think he will be willing to go uh, across the river into Queens and play with the Mets basically at that point. So yeah, he did save the season, but at the same time, he also saved himself a little bit too, because like it could have been his last game at that point as well too. But I mean, I was like I was watching after the back-to-back home runs. I was like disheartened, disappointed. I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, honestly, I didn't think Budo would have done that. I mean, honestly, it's one of those rare times where Budo, messed up. But I mean, I think he will become a dominant starter. I mean, if he becomes like similar to what the way Johan Santana was developed, I think he could become that dominant pitcher. And the fact that I like our future. Put it this way, with Peterson and Budo, basically, I do like him alone. I do like that and that aspect. Severino and Mania. I mean, I don't think Mania is going to come back. I mean, if the Mets sign him, that'd be great. But I think it was maybe this may be one of those years where like let him opt out and see what happens. Severino, it'd be great if the Mets can re-sign him, because like I think we need that longevity with him, and the fact that we have Senga, if Senga can maintain himself basically and be healthy, it'd be great too. I would love more pitchers, but like let's see what happens this series basically, because my concern is like we have a shot for game two. We definitely have a shot for game two. The thing is, game three, Nola is what's concerning me the most basically. If Nola shuts out the Mets like Wheeler did, but Nola goes into a full, the full game, I mean, and saves their bullpen a little bit, I mean, that's going to be a concern for me. But the Mets can only do so much with their bullpen as well, too. I think Severino's pitching tomorrow, right? If I remember correctly. So, yeah, for Severino's pitching tomorrow, the real question is like, can Severino, can Mania actually go a full 6 to 7 innings? McGill is back. I mean, so I think he would be good as not as a starter, but at least definitely mid reliever for sure too. This was like really something that I never thought was gonna happen. Honestly, I didn't think the Mets. Again, I'll eat my words. And you know what? For Halloween, I'll definitely post up on a video and such. I'll put up a Grimace costume if I can find a Grimace costume out there, because I mean, let's be honest, Grimace with an OMG sign, I'll go out there on Halloween looking like that anyway. Um, Yes. Oh, okay. Um, Sorry, I'm just trying to look and see some stuff. I mean, this is really, really, really unbelievable. Quite honestly, more than anything else. I was really happy. I mean, I was concerned. I'll be honest. I didn't think the Mets were going to win the first game, so I was like, all right, if they lose the first game, at least they can win game number two. Game number three will be a little different, but the fact of the matter is you got Sanchez versus Severino, so I think the Mets definitely have a shot for game two. It's for game three where I think the comes down to the fact is like I think it's going to be Nola versus Mineo. If Mineo can keep himself and compose himself, I mean, granted, he has pretty much him and Severino pretty much saved the season. I mean, these were two unlikely pitchers that were somehow salvageable, and they did what they did. I mean, I think my concern is towards the tail end. I mean, granted, Mania did really well against the Brewers until they got to the bullpen, but my concern is like Mania may have overdone himself to the point where I don't know if he can last past the fifth inning. If he can get to the sixth or seventh inning against the Phillies, against Nola, and keep the Mets within distance, like maybe a run or two, it might work out. Um, yeah, I would say the playoff format. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, no disagreement there, Yuki. I mean, honestly, yeah. Look what the Diamondbacks did last year as well too. Like they're a wild card team. It looks like this new format it's definitely favoring the wild card team more than anything else. And momentum is definitely on the Mets side. It's just hopefully that this momentum keeps going. My hope is basically if the Met. Okay, let's be honest. This is what the thing is. My ideal situation. I think I put in a video yesterday as well too, or 2 days ago when the Mets won. My ideal situation is the Mets beat the Phillies and the Mets play against the Padres, not the Dodgers, but the Padres in the LCS. Reason why? Revenge. I want that redemption. I really want that redemption from 2 years ago because the Mets should have advanced and beaten the Padres that time. I want them to beat that. And the other factor is too, if the Mets were, hopefully the Mets were to beat the Padres World Series, I want the Mets against the Royals because I want that redemption as well too. Because in 2015, I thought for sure we had that, but like a Royals definitely showed some of our weaknesses. The fact that like we didn't have as much hitting as we thought we had, and the fact is like we didn't have as much of a defensive infield. The pitchers were great, but once the balls get like the Royals back then were hitters. So I want that redemption. I want the Mets to like sweep the Royals this time around if they can get back to it as well too. But in any case, I'm hoping. The fact of the matter is like I mean I wouldn't mind as well too if the Mets go against the Yankees because from 2000 I want to kill the Yankees. I think every Met fan wants the Yankees to go down, but I'd rather have, if the Mets if it's not the Royals, I definitely want the Yankees. I want the Yankees, and I want to take them down. I want like I think we all want them to like whatever. But in any case, the whole thing is like I'm getting ahead of myself though. Like, I think the Mets need to first get past the Phillies. That's the big thing though. So like, Game three is definitely going to be a changer, a crucial game. The game three is definitely a crucial game. If the Mets win or lose game two, hopefully they win game two. It becomes crucial if they can beat Nola. If they can beat Nola in game three, I think then the Mets definitely should be able to beat the Phillies in either four or five or six, basically for sure. But outside of that, the real question is the Mets. Again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's not hard not to. But if the Mets can get past the Phillies, question is can they beat the Dodgers? I don't think so. My concern is I don't think the Mets have the ability to contain the Dodgers hitting, but they definitely have the ability to contain the Padres. Though the Padres are red hot, and they are another wild card team as well too. So, I mean, if not the Mets, it's probably going to be the Padres that are probably going to advance. If the Padres beat the Dodgers, that is. I mean, the way the Padres beat the Braves, granted the Braves just eked in because they got lucky per se. It would have been interesting to see how the Diamondbacks would have played out, but then again, the Mets would have to flown out to San Diego, and that was my big fear. I was hoping the Mets would have lost the second game in the doubleheader so that they could go to Milwaukee because like that long flight, I think would have taken a lot out of them. So I think we were fortunate to play the Brewers at that point as well too. And let's be honest, the Brewers had no starting pitching, so that's why we got really fortunate. And the fact that Yelich was out as well too really helped us out at that point. That's why I was really looking forward to the Brewers, and I thought for sure we would have had 2 games. My fear was that second game when Maton basically gave up the runs. It was a concern. To be honest, it almost happened here again as well too. Maton, fortunately, the Mets had a 5-run lead, but when Maton basically came in, got the first 2 outs very quickly. I'm like, all right, maybe he's redeeming himself. But then you see hits after hit after hit. I'm like, it was getting a little concerning to the point. I was like, oh, good Lord. I mean, please let him get the third out. But fortunately, he did. I think this might help boost his confidence a little bit. Stanek, oh man, I can't believe how good he is. I mean, let's be honest. Stearns has helped the bullpen considerably from those deadlines and from those pickups that he's been able. I don't know what kind of magic he has. I mean, he's done it with the Brewers, and now he's doing it with the Mets. Whatever he's using to get these, pick up these players that were discarded and that were never going to be picked up. I mean, they are doing really well. And the fact is, let's be honest, Mendoza, I think, is doing a phenomenal job. If not him, well, I don't know. The thing is, like, I don't know who would be the manager of the year, but Mendoza has to be there as well too. He has to be in the top 1, 2, or top 3, and as far as picking him up as being nominated for manager of the year. Because, I mean, let's be honest, this is a team that was like not expected to make the playoffs. I was more so looking forward to the Mets. Maybe if they can just make 500, that would have been great. And they far exceeded my expectations. I mean, honestly, it's more of a thing. This is everything beyond here and on is icing on the cake. I mean, if they can get to the World Series, more so even than before. But in any case, I'll leave it at that. I mean, this is by again something that I did not anticipate the Mets doing this time around. Against the Phillies. I mean, yeah, towards the tail end they were getting beating the Phillies at that point, but then after the final game in September, I mean, I thought if they could have swept the Phillies, that would have shown that maybe the Mets could definitely beat them. But the fact that they lost, but then again, I think this is a resilient team, and like again, momentum plays a huge factor, and like this is a case where like the Mets have great momentum going with them, and I'm hoping they can take this momentum and propel them even further. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's wait for Game 2 and see what happens tomorrow, and as well as Game 3. Game 2, great. If they can get Game 3, which is the crucial game, they beat Game 3 and they win. They beat Nola. I mean, the Mets advance to the LCS. They lose Game 3 to Nola. It's a concern at that point because even though they're up 2-1, that fourth game changes everything at that point. But if they can beat that third, get Nola and beat the third game and sweep the Phillies, that would be great. It would be awesome. I mean, the fact is like, I think the Phillies made the right choice in putting Nola in the third game. More so because the fact is like, if the Mets went up 2-0, Nola was the deciding factor. So the real question comes down to is, can Maneo, be under this pressure? Can he beat the Phillies? It's only time will tell. And the fact is, let's see how Severino pitches against the Phillies as well too, because Schwarber and Harper are definitely going to be pissed off. I think they're going to wake up. Well, they were sort of waking up a little bit in this game. They'll probably wake up again and probably go all out against Severino. Look for the Phillies bats to wake up tomorrow. I mean, let's be honest, they're going to probably wake up. I'm just hoping that Severino can hold them at least, within a run, so that the Mets have the ability to come back. I mean, it looks like basically the Mets can definitely take out the go after anyone's bullpen, the best of the bullpens. Milwaukee had the best bullpen, and they came back and beat them. I mean, Game 1, you saw what happened there. Game 3, you saw what happened there as well too. Game 2, yeah, fine. It was a little tricky at that point, but I don't know. Now, again, I will take back what I said about the fact that, when it was trying for the trading deadline, Mets should have traded Severino, should have traded Manea, should have traded Alonso for sure, and definitely should have traded for Lindor. I'm happy that the Mets didn't do that. The fact of the matter is that Lindor has become the heart and soul of this team. And I'll be honest, I thought initially Lindor was more of a selfish player, but seeing him progressing and seeing how he's been playing, that selfishness has gone out to the point where he became the team. He is the team. Let's be honest. He is the team. He's the heart and soul of this team. And quite honestly, without him, the Mets don't make the playoff. Let's be honest. We all know this for a fact. Without him, the Mets are not in the playoff. So the fact that Ohtani has a chance of being the NL MVP, I could see it from a perspective like his offense, but if you take him away from the Dodgers still make the playoffs. They still make the playoffs. Without Lindor, do the Mets make the playoffs? Highly doubtful. It's very doubtful that they make the playoffs. And do they even get past the Brewers at that point as well, too? Highly doubtful as well, too. I mean, it's a case where, this is a thing where, it's showing. I mean, it's the two-way street as well, too. I mean, granted, yes, Shohei Ohtani wasn't pitching. He was just being a DH. And he could be the first DH to win an MVP, NL MVP. But, I mean, this is a case where Lindor, basically, even though he's not the lock shoe-in for a Gold Glove, it'd be great he would. But if the other player doesn't get it and he gets it, and then if the other player doesn't get it, then it's most likely going to go to him at that point. But Lindor, practically a Gold Glove, if not a Gold Glove, and definitely a offensive threat. That without him, the Mets don't make the playoffs. So he definitely should be not in the talks, but more so high in the voting categories for NL MVP. I'm hoping he does. I mean, I think this series, the Milwaukee series, and this Philly series shows otherwise as well too. Lindor is showing that he's the heart of the team, and he's showing that without him, I don't think the Mets, actually, you can see the Mets don't even win the series as well too without or they don't even win this game. Quite honestly, yeah, Alonso kind of had a one-off, one home run, that put the Mets into the game, into the advances them into the LDS. But I mean, does that one home run save him from the rest of the series if the Mets lose this series to the Phillies and he goes 0 for like 20 basically? I mean, that's the biggest question. If he goes 0 for 20, or 1 for 21, or 1 for 22, whatever it may, or 2 for 23, whatever. If he's batting like 90%, not even 100, and with the risk of like, I guess 40, yeah, under 40. I mean, like, it doesn't really help him out at that point as well too. Do I want to see him leave the Mets? No, by no means. But I think after the end of the season, the Mets need to prioritize and go for Soto first, and then go after Alonso. I don't think Alonso being a New York born and not born and bred, but like raised up and through the farm system and such, and this is the only team he's been in. I think we should be able to retain him. I think we should be able to retain him. It's sad to see that some other team members that were there in 2022 weren't here, like DeGrom. I think DeGrom definitely deserves that. Well, he won the World Series anyways with the Rangers, but I would have loved to have seen him, as a Mets winning that as well too. Would have loved to have seen Wheeler as well winning it as a Met, in the World Series. But in any case, anyways, from that, I'll leave it at that. And to answer your question, Yuki, yeah, I will definitely be watching the Padres versus LA because I live out here in Southern California. So the fact that like I'm out here in Southern California, I'll be definitely watching the two games. Quite honestly, if the Mets advance, the best part is I'm in between LA and San Diego, so I'll be able to go to either one if the Mets advance. I'll be able to go to either one of those games, series based LCS games when they come out here basically. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out as well too. I'll try to see if I can stream it live. I think I can theoretically. Well, I should be able to. Yeah, I'm at the game, so I should be able to stream it live. The only question is like, can I get the tickets? Because I know they're going to be expensive as fudge. But in any case, I'm hoping like that'll be interesting to see how that works out as well too. Because like I think I could actually go to an LCS game out here too. In any case, and you'll be surprised to see how many New York fans that are out here in LA. Because when I went to an LA game, I didn't even when I went to the Anaheim game as well too. I was shocked to see like maybe a quarter, not even a quarter, like maybe close to half of the stadium were Mets fans. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping so too. I'm hoping the Mets are facing the Padres because like if I want I want that redemption. I really want that redemption, but it's a matter of like seeing how they play out, how this game plays out or series plays out with the Dodgers. I mean, if Shohei Ohtani goes into a slump, maybe even better, and Freeman as well too, and Mookie Betts. The thing is, like, you gotta get Mookie Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman basically to go in a slump. Then I think definitely the Padres have a shot. I think if 2 out of the 3 are doing really well, it's going to be a little tricky for the Padres. But it comes down to their pitching as well too, like who has the better pitcher and such. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Anyways, I'm again hoping the Mets face the Padres. If the Mets win, I think for sure I'm not for sure, but I'm pretty confident that the Mets should win Game 2. Considering the question is Game 3? Can they win them in Game 3? Oh, I didn't realize Freeman was hurt. I forgot about that. You're right. I forgot about that. But in any case, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully, let's go Mets, or let's go Mets. I'm not gonna curse out because YouTube has their own stupid ass policy. But in any case, with that, I'll leave it at that.